All right, we are now in our game number. Well, not game number five, but like round five for Small and Lily. Linie, rather, not Lily. Lily's the character. So hey, we're back again. We are casters. I'm JJ, and with me is the one and only, the host of them all, Feeper. Let's have a champion time.
We are going to see a Kangaskhan Metagross. I mean, I was looking at the teams before this, and they're pretty interesting. We have a Pincurchin, and if I recall correctly, a weakness policy Incineroar, which is not something you see, I think, almost ever. I tried it once, and it was very underwhelming, but I also don't think I was using it in a very good scenario. But we do see a Dusclops and Incineroar lead. I wonder if this is going to be maybe a potential Trick Room and then Bulldoze turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
But Metagross Kangaskhan, I'm not really sure what that lead does either. I mean, Kangaskhan is pretty much known for just fake out and last resort with a Silk Scarf to boost
Right.
his normal type moves. And then
And I mean,
Scrappy.
you don't see Kangaskhan a lot anymore. I mean, unlike
Yeah.
in XY auras where he has the parental bond,
Yeah,
but
Megas Kangaskhan is just
right.
a completely different monster of a Pokemon, absolutely. But
But in this kind of series, in Sword and Shield, in any like in any season, in any series, you don't really see a lot of Kangaskhan. But it's really interesting to see the Kangaskhan being in play right now, and this is what I like as well. I like to see non-meta Pokemon because non-meta teams because that's the kind of teams that I use. Non-meta. I don't want to play with the meta. I wanna play with my own. I wanna win with my own team. But going back, let's have our first Dynamax is going to be the shiny, square shiny Metagross going to go in for the first Dynamax, and let's see what's going to be the answer for Small here.
so one interesting dynamic at play here, because it is a weakness policy Incineroar, we saw the Incineroar max flare the Kangaskhan slot. Presumably, Metagross is going to max Quake the Incineroar, and depending how bulky this Incineroar is, it could get a Sun boosted +2 max flare into Metagross, and I don't think Metagross, regardless of how shiny it is going to appreciate that. So we could honestly see Incineroar Oko a Metagross, which is kind of insane,
Oh,
but
look at that.
instead it goes for the max Steel Spike. I think that's not a bad play. It, you know, didn't read the Dusclops switch out, but you do get a +1
Right.
defense boost on both your Pokemon against an Incineroar, which is going to be pretty valuable considering most Incineroar are going to be a physical variant.
I mean, even if Small here didn't switch out, I think it's not going to do a lot of damage against the Dusclops, especially when it has the Eviolite. But at the same time, the only plan here for Linie is just to be able to get that +1 on defense. But that Max Flare, I think, would you think that it would have been better if he actually attacked that Metagross instead of the Kangaskhan?
I don't think so. I think all you do in that case is just set up a weakness policy turn 1 for Metagross, and then Kangaskhan can just do something else turn 2 besides activating it. So and we do see the Max Quake come out now, which is gonna. Oh,
Ooh,
it's not gonna activate
that's
a
a big
weakness
oof,
policy.
bro.
It's just gonna Oko Incineroar. My gosh.
That's a big oof.
I mean,
And this is, I mean, it's really uncommon to see a Dynamax Incineroar, and what I really like about here, what I really like about Small here is that he's putting a lot of fate in this Incineroar, but unfortunately that fate wasn't reciprocated.
yeah, it just Metagross moving first was a big problem for that Incineroar. I've talked about in the past how speed control is just so vitally important. But we do have the Duck Sauce coming out now. Metagross does only have one turn of max left. It's not over for Small. We did see a Leech Seed come out with leftover Celesteela. You could honestly pretty safely just either Leech Seed the Kangaskhan or maybe just protect and go for Trick Room and then try and go from there. The Celesteela is slower than the Metagross, and
Hmm.
if it gets a double Leech Seed up in Trick Room, it's honestly going to be pretty hard for anything to KO it because it's going to have so much recovery.
Right, and look at that. I think that was a helping hand
I believe
going
so,
into the
yes.
Max Steel Swipe. Once again, yeah, this is.
Ugh.
I need to be able to read Spanish.
I
Right,
think that
but
was a
look at
helping
that right
hand,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, and that goes a +2 onto the defense of the side of Linie here. But look at that. Leech Seed, as you mentioned, he was trying to go in for the Trick Room, going into the Leech Seed. I think if he's gonna be able to like get in the Leech Seed to both of the Pokemon here, Metagross and that of the Kangaskhan, then I think he would still be able to survive. But at the same time, not having the speed control at this point, not without the Incineroar, now without the Dusclops, that's gonna be huge for the side of Small.
It is going to be huge. Another problem is that Sun is up, and he's sending out a Lapras now, which is not going to do very much damage using its water type moves in the Sun. I believe there's still 2 turns of that weather left. We do see Metagross come down from its big formy, but I mean, it's a +2 Metagross, and while it is leech seeded, it's very easy to just, especially with 2 Pokemon in the back, just switch it out, get rid of that leech seed, and just kind of outstall the stall, if that makes any sense.
Right,
um,
right, right.
yeah, it seems like Small's game plan was to try and get a Max Quake into his Incineroar, or into their Incineroar, excuse me, turn 1 to activate a weakness policy, and then Oko the Kangaskhan, set up that Sun, and then maybe use the Dusclops to maybe ally switch or get Trick Room up, and then be able to just Oko the Metagross before it does anything. But switching out Dusclops turn 1 kind of put him back a slot, and I mean, Helping Hand +2 Iron Heads is just, even against a Celesteela, which is a bulky Pokemon that resists it, is going to do a ton of damage.
Right. And at this point, Celesteela, what Celesteela could do here is just leech sheet everyone. Even Iron Defense, dude. Like even with a +1 defense here, if he won't be able to set up the leech sheet, and he's gonna be having a hard time setting up this leech sheet, because like you know Linie here still has like 4 Pokemon. So the
Yeah,
moment that any of these Pokemon gets seeded, you know,
just swap
these
it
two
out, just get
Pokemon,
rid of it.
sorry, Linie could just like swap it out and remove the leech seed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and we are going to see that come out right here. We are going to see the Kangaskhan come back. That means it will have Fake Out pressure when it comes back in, and an Incineroar is going to come out, and that also is going to have Fake Out pressure. It does get Intimidate off as well.
Right.
So a lot of Celesteela do like to run Heavy Slam, so that's going to hurt that move a lot. But at +2 defense, that Celesteela takes that Ice Punch actually really well, and now it's going to be +4. And there's no real way to get rid of these defense boosts. Honestly, if it gets to +6, and it can keep leech seeding and just protecting, I mean, I don't know if Celesteela is going to be able to 1v4, but it might be able to take out a
It
couple
could. It
Pokemon.
could.
I mean, if there's
It
all physical
actually
attackers
could,
in the back with +6, I mean, I guess it could.
But it all depends whether or not, Celesteela here would be able to defeat the timer. That's the thing.
That is
Because
another
like
very real win condition.
like right? The win condition here for Linie is either to take out this Celesteela with, of course, a fake out pressure with all the attacks and everything basically. But the enemy here right now for Celesteela is not the Pokemon of Linie, but the timer.
I completely agree. I think I would like to see Lineage just start to take a very long time. Well, not a very long time, depending on their time, but take a bit longer on each turn to sort of lock in and really just start to outstall the stall Pokemon. Because even if all of
Right.
these Pokemon collectively have less HP than Celesteela, since they do have more Pokemon overall, they will just be able to win off of that technicality. And we did just see a super effective Flare Blitz do, I want to say, almost nothing to a Steel type,
Right.
which I never thought I'd see in my life.
I mean, look at this. With that Flare Blitz now out, and now he doesn't have any fake out pressure as well. Because like both of these Pokemon is no longer on their first turn. He could just like either go in for another Iron Defense, but I don't think that should be the case. If he goes in for another Iron Defense, then he's just basically wasting time when time is what his enemy is.
Yeah, we are going to see one strange trick that you can actually use is if you're in a situation like this where you're stalling time, you could actually, you know, use moves that, while they might not do the most damage, have longer animations to waste the game time while saving your own time And something like sending in a Tapu
Right.
Fini with that Misty Surge, that does take a little bit of extra time out. Of course, using Parting Shot, causing the switch, and then taking time there. All these things will start to add up against the Celesteela. And I honestly don't really see a reason why Linie just doesn't switch one of or both of their Pokemon out every turn and just not care about all these Leaf Seeds at this point.
Right. I mean, again, if there are like only like two more Pokemon, then definitely the win condition, the win advantage for Celesteela here is really huge. But with those four Pokemon, that's looking pretty blurry.
Yeah, I really don't. With two more in the back, I really just don't see a way. I mean, here we go. We see the switch again. I really don't see a way the Celesteela is going to be able to just do enough damage to any of these Pokemon. It presumably has Heavy Slam or Air Slash as its actually damaging move. Usually you're going to want, Leech Seed, Protect, and then at least one offensive move so you can do something besides just Leech Seed. We do see the Iron Defense, but you just switch every turn, and I think we may see. Yeah, here we're going to see the surrender come out. Don't want to prolong this game any longer than it needs to be. Just move on to the next one. I think that's a good play. I do like Small's idea with his Policy Incineroar. That's a very surprising thing that can catch a lot of players off guard, but it just really didn't go their way in this first game.
Right. Oh, it looks like we're heading immediately to the second game.
We got a nice little edit going. All right. I like it.
But hey, let's see. I mean, maybe that's a feature now that we didn't know of. A new patch.
I don't think so.
But let's have a champion time.
We are going to see
It looks like it's going to be the same leads for Linie.
Yeah, Linie will do the same leads. I do like that. I think this is a pretty strong combo into most of what Small has, but we do see a fairly classic combo with the Amoonguss and the Dusclops. Of course, you can go for a pretty safe Rage Powder, or essentially a Follow Me. So Rage Powder, Trick Room turn 1, get that up pretty safely. The problem with things like that is then you can't really get your Trick Room Sweeper in all the time. So it's a little bit of an awkward play, but does get that Trick Room up immediately. But I actually think we saw Amoonguss go for Spore onto this Metagross, which would be very, very disruptive, especially since it just Dynamaxed.
Right, but we also have to consider the fact that there may be a fake out into that Amoonguss, and there we go. It's not going to be able to make use of that Spore, and the Max Heal Spike is, I think, going to be able to knock out this Amoonguss. Not quite enough. Not quite enough, but that was a lot.
That was a lot of damage. Of course, Amoonguss, known for being very tanky, also does have access to that, presumably that regenerator ability. It will recover a third of its HP upon being switched out. You do have Trick Room up now, and you could... It's a little bit risky because Amoonguss will probably go down if you stay in, but you could just go for a Spore onto the Metagross because you are going to be faster under Trick Room and just put it to sleep.
Right.
And then you basically waste its last turns of max. And then, I actually kind of like that idea because then you could potentially get your Trick Room Sweeper in, whatever that may be, because essentially Amoonguss should go down this turn. So I think that's a pretty solid play. We do see
at least guarantee one hit, right?
Yeah.
At least guarantee one turn, a free turn off of that, from that Metagross. But let's see what's going to be happening right now. We are going to see, I think, the one that's going to be the MVP of the game. Going to be the Pincurchin going for that Electric Surge.
It is called the Electric Tower, but Pincurchin was not the Pokemon I was thinking of when I came up with this name. I will admit, it's not a Pokemon we see very often, namely due to the fact that it's just, in Series 7, it's really honestly just outclassed, and I don't think this was a read, but unfortunately that Electric Train is immediately going to get overwritten, and you really don't want to see that if you're a Pincurchin, because you really don't do any damage unless you have that boost up.
Right, but look at this right now. We have the Max Heal Spike. I think, ooh, he was able to survive that. Really interesting and really surprising, and even at a critical hit.
Yeah, I mean, Electric does resist Steel, so that is coming in clutch for this Pincurchin. It does have a Citrus Berry, it looks like. Yeah, it does have a Citrus Berry,
and
so...
here I am thinking that it's going to be a Focus Sash.
That is something we have seen, although not too often. I mean, usually we see Pincurchin paired with something like Alolan Raichu to activate its Surge Surfer, so it gets double speed, but
Right.
Alolan Raichu isn't something we've seen, I think, at all in Series 7. Cantonian Raichu is much more popular. But this is kind of a weird spot. I mean, your Trick Room turns are starting to run out. You don't really have a Trick Room Sweeper. I'm a little surprised to see this combination of Pokemon. I mean, Celesteela we know isn't very offensive. Pincurchin isn't thought to be a very offensive Pokemon in itself either. So I'm not really sure what the win con is for Small here.
I mean, just to add into that, Celesteela, especially with this kind of set, is usually used at the last, at the end game,
Mm-hmm.
which essentially makes it your win con. When you're in the late game, Leech Seed, Attack, and Heavy Slam. But with this kind of set and Celesteela being into that of the front, I'm not sure what Small is trying to think here, but whoo, that baby! I'm telling you, this is gonna be the MVP of the game here.
It very well could be. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a Dynamax Pincurchin. I'm a little scared, I'm not going to lie. But we will see the Max Lightning come out. It will reset that Misty Terrain back to Electric. Of course, it could also just get reset into the Misty Terrain again with a Tapu Fini switching. However, Fini does not want to eat a Max Lightning, even if it's coming from a Pincurchin.
Right. And look at this right now. After the helping hand, the Max Quake is still not gonna be able to take that Pincurchin. What is happening, bro? That Pincurchin is really bulky. I'm telling you right now. MVP of the game.
It seems like every time we doubt a Pokemon, it just speaks to us through the ether and is like, no, I got this. But
I don't want to say no negative thing about any Pokemon right now anymore. Because
I know
it's gonna get reversed.
I know
it's gonna get reversed.
That's insane. But we do see the Metagross go out of its Dynamax. Pincurchin is very low. It is still in Trick Room, of course. Trick Room should be running out after this turn. And once again, Tapu Fini can reset that Electric Terrain, taking away a big chunk of Pincurchin's damage. And we will see it switch out here. The Metagross switch out. This should be Tapu Fini is my guess. I know it's going to be the Incineroar, actually.
He doesn't want to remove that Electric Terrain just yet. But, oh man, I'm not sure. Max Barrier? Oh, wait. No, not Max Barrier. Max Guard. Oh man, this language differences. Well, yeah. But it's really interesting to see that, the Spanish term for Max Guard is Max Barrier. That may be a term that I might be using from now on.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is such a weird game. I mean, you have Pincurchin, Amoonguss, Dusclops, Celesteela. It's just, I'm not sure. I mean, this is the problem. I'm not sure what the damage is. I guess it seems like Pincurchin was the sort of late game, I mean, even mid game Dynamax option, which we will see actually go back into its Pokeball. We do not see that very often, but
that's really interesting as well.
It is very interesting.
Like, I mean, looking at the team of Small here, I can't see any synergy, but it might be something that only he could understand. But having the Pincurchin with this kind of 4-man Pokemon is really something that's interesting as well, because you can't seem to like synergize it with any of these Pokemon that he has right now, and you just can't see any win con. But it is something that only Small could think of, but it's really hard.
It is going to be very difficult. I mean, it's just there isn't much damage going out. It feels like they like to play a very sort of slow, kind of stally-ish style. I do like actually the Dusclops switch in though. Even though you do lose a turn of your max, you do get it in a turn earlier, right when Trick Room goes down, so you can pretty much guarantee you get it right back up. So I do like that play coming out. It's just I don't know if they're going to have the damage. That's the biggest concern I have for them. We will see a Leech Seed once again, but like we said in the last game, as long as you have more than 2 Pokemon, you can just keep resetting that over and over and over again.
Man, another Trick Room is now out from the side of the Dusclops, and that would make him the faster Pokemon. Again, speed control is everything. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say speed control is everything. Maybe just 90%, but not everything. Because like raw power is still up there. It's a factor,
raw power is still important.
Right? But like at this point on, Oh man, this is. I just don't know. Like, what do you think could Small do against Linie here? Especially that he has the Incineroar and the Metagross out now, and could just potentially go in for again a parting shot from this Incineroar into that of the Kangaskhan and just switch in for the Fake Out pressure. Oh,
Metagross will switch out.
we're
It
gonna
will be
go
the
in for
Kangaskhan
Kangaskhan.
again. Yeah. The fake out pressure is something that is going to be very important. Of course, Dusclops being a ghost type won't be able to do that. And one
Get
thing
hit,
that's
yeah.
yeah, one thing that's going to be very important, I think, is Dusclops can't actually really damage this Kangaskhan because if you could pain split it, but other than that, Nightshade isn't going to affect a normal type Pokemon, and this Dusclops or this
Uh-huh.
excuse me, the Kangaskhan does have Scrappy, if I recall correctly, which means normal and fighting type moves will connect with ghost types. So I honestly would like to see Linie maybe conserve this Kangaskhan and make sure it doesn't go down to just have a basically guaranteed win condition against this Dusclops in the late game.
Man, this is really hard to think about.
It's wild. This is a
I
wild
mean, I
game.
mean, it is a wild game. It makes not only the players think, but it also makes us think.
It
You know what
makes
I'm
the
saying?
casters think too.
Like, I mean, yeah, we have been thinking, but not this deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have been thinking this earlier, but this game makes us think even more.
Amoonguss is going to hit the field again with a double into the Celesteela Protect. It's going to recover a little bit of HP with its leftovers. It did Iron Defense as well, but we did see that Incineroar Flare Blitz do a lot of damage, even at +2. But now that Amoonguss is back out, we do have Spore Pressure, which is something that, Slinny's going to have to really respect. I don't know if
Right.
Kangaskhan can take out this Amoonguss. It is a fairly bulky Pokemon. So you could just put the Incineroar to sleep, maybe Leech Seed the Kangaskhan slot, maybe Iron Defense again, and then Protect, get some leftovers recovery. I think, depending on what Small does this turn, I think this could be the turn that really gets the momentum back in
Oh
their
no,
favor.
he goes in for the Rage Powder instead.
Very
He goes in for
interesting
the Rage
play.
Powder instead, and then goes in for the attack for Celesteela. He wants to get in the Leech Seed, but oh man, with this kind of switching right now for the side of Linie, mm, it's really. I mean, I now I can see the win condition for Small. He wants to make sure that he gets to set up the Celesteela really quickly, and for in any way possible. But after that, it's just everything just rides on that path, on that route. But the moment that you remove all the hurdle to get that route, basically just deletes and destroys every bridge that Small could like walk into to get into that route. And now that he is currently on a disadvantage into the numbers of Pokemon with Among Us now out, that is just made even more difficult.
It is going to be made much more difficult. I actually do like that play a lot. They say, okay, I'm going to get I'm going to switch my Dusclops out. I'm going to put a Mungus in, Rage Powder, and soak up a hit and put Leech Seed on your Incineroar. So that way it'll get low enough. So then next turn, once a Mungus goes down, I can switch in the Dusclops and Nightshade it and Protect and KO the Incineroar. Unfortunately, the Iapapa Berry says, nah, 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 nah. You're not taking my Incineroar yet. He's sticking around for a little while longer, which really sort of puts, I think, a big dent in what Small's game plan was there. But I do like the overall idea. I think that was very well executed.
Oh man, look at this. Let's see what's gonna happen. Protection. Wow, look at the protect. Of course, protect for the Feeny here, but we are going to see one hit.
Ooh.
Oh wow, this ended. Man, I'm telling you, I'm really
Rising
stoked
voltage
up
on
for
electric
this.
terrain. I mean, even from Pincurchin, you can't sleep on it. It does damage. It's like Indeedee using expanding force. I mean, you can't sleep on it. It does a
Man,
lot of
if that
damage.
pitcher can use that against a Finny, that would have been 1 KO as well, dude. Like, it could have 1 KO anyone in the field right now.
It would
Even
have
the
done a lot of
Celesteela.
damage. Yeah, it would have done a lot of damage. Depending on how bulky the Feeny is trained, which some of them, most of the time we do see a decent amount of bulk in them. It might not have gone down, but the problem is that Trick Room is now over. Celesteela
Right.
isn't
It was
super threatened, but Pincurchin most certainly is.
And what's really interesting here is that there's no attackers in the side of small. Like the only attacker there
He's
is
Pincurchin.
Minchurkin. Yeah. And he even went for the Dynamax Minchurkin as well. Like you don't see that every day. You don't see well, I mean you don't see it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Only here in Electric Tower. You know, maybe that's the reason why he went in and joined tournament.
Maybe. I mean, if so, I respect it, but that burn from the skull is actually a huge deal. That's going to not completely offset the leftovers recovery, but it will definitely slow down Celesteela's recovery here. It still has leftovers, still has Leech Seed, depending on, when Pokemon switch out, but that burn is going to be a big deal.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, like, even if you get to, we call this put Leech Seed on both of the Pokemon, you still have the burn, essentially removing like half of the half of the recovered health that you have. But unless you have unless you have like a solution for that, unless you would be able to like make one of your three Pokemon survive, along with Celesteela, then I don't think he would be able to survive this. But look at this right now. We have the Protect as well from the Celesteela. The Dusclops here. Oh, never mind. The Finny is going to go in for the Moon Blast. Not gonna do a lot, but of course it's gonna lower its special defense.
I think what he's really
Special
hoping
defense was it?
for
Or
is special attack, I believe, yes. But
special attack rather. Thank you for correcting.
yeah, no problem. I think the game plan there was to just either pray for a crit to prevent Trick Room going up or a flinch. I do think that is Linie's best play in that situation because Celesteela is most likely going to protect, or even if it doesn't, I honestly don't think you're going to KO it based off how much damage you've been doing in the past, and Metagross isn't boosted anymore. So I think that was a good play coming out from them, but we do see that the Celesteela got the protect off, Trick Room is back up, and not only can Celesteela start to recover HP, but Dusclops can as well. And I don't know. I mean, it's slowly but surely starting to just kind of tumble into Small's favor. Linie's slowly just not being able to do enough damage despite all, through all this recovery. We are going to see a Nightshade come out, though. Very interesting. I'm surprised not to see a Pain Split, to be honest with you.
I mean, now we could see the win con here for Small. Like in a very clear manner. He just needs to stall this out. Already has the Leech Seeds on. If he would be able to like make Pincurkin survive this, pretty sure that Feeny is going to protect next turn. That I am very confident about. We have the he could like make Pincurkin attack for the next turn, and now that Celesteela is essentially set up, even if Linie here would like switch out, he could. There's still guaranteed one Pokemon that is seeded, But the problem here is that he took so long that his problem right now is the timer. We only have like 3 minutes and 47 seconds left, and I don't think that is quite enough to be able to stall out either Metagross, Feeny, or the Kangaskhan.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be very difficult. I think Feeny switching out or protecting here is a pretty likely thing to have happen. We are going to see the protect come out. Another problem is that Pincurchin can no longer reset that electric terrain, and it's actually going to be almost gone. I believe there's only a couple turns left. It will pick up a KO into Metagross, though. I mean, your stab plus a 1.5 times boost is a pretty big deal on their Trick Room, so correct me for saying Misty Surge could reset the terrain, but it no longer will be able to. So Celesteela also not going to be able to have its Leech Seed, taken away from it by the Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini is going to heal a bit with that Wiki Berry, but this Kangaskhan's going to come in now, probably fake out maybe the Pincurchin slot, hoping to pick up a KO. And I think Celesteela is honestly pretty poised to just kind of take this game away. It could just Leech Seed and then just click Flash Cannon, I believe it was using before, and then just protect whenever it gets, somewhat low.
All right. Now, we have the Kangaskhan here, right? definitely going to go in for the fake up into that Pinchurkin. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. If Pinchurkin here would be able to like use protect, right? Go in for the protect. Yep, that's what you need to do. He would be able to leech seed this leech seed this Kangaskhan unless the fake out is going to go in for the Celesteela, and it's not. He wants to take in the KO, and that is something that he needs to do as well. You know, with the numbers advantage, he just needs to solve out the time, right? He just needs to solve out the time. But if Celesteela here would be able to leech seed this Kangaskhan, he could then potentially be able to take over and get this win with the numbers advantage or the health advantage over Linie.
Yeah, is Linie's honestly only win con at this point is really just to stall as long as they can, KO Pincurchin, and then just hope that they can keep their Pokemon alive long enough to win based off of having more Pokemon than Small. Because at this point, this Celesteela is not going down unless you like Omega crit every turn.
Right. And look at that. We only have 60 seconds left. A minute, less than
It's
a
gonna be
minute
close.
left. And yeah, less than a minute left.
One
If
KO
here's the
should
thing,
decide this.
one KO definitely could decide this. Could either be the Pinchurkin or Kangaskhan or the Finny. Any one KO is going to decide this. This is gonna be our last turn. Regardless of which attack is gonna go out, this is gonna be the last turn. Now, whichever one goes out here, see, if here's the thing, if Kangaskhan, if any of the Pokemon of Linie here goes down, then the winner is going to be Small, right?
Oh.
But he actually no, there's no buts. It's gonna be taken out. He's gonna be the winner here. Yep, he's gonna win
Yep.
with the numbers. Even if he takes out the Pinchurkin, he still has the life lead, and that's gonna be the game for Small.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly a little
astounded, bro.
speechless.
I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah, I just,
Right? Like,
Celesteela just
I don't know, man.
click Leech Seed.
Like for the last I don't know, like 3-5 minutes, I've been thinking like, hey, he's taking too long to set up. He's taking too long to set up. There's not much time for him to set up. He's not gonna win this. The timer is his enemy, but this is
Turns out
something.
the timer was his friend.
Exactly, right? Like, oh god, man, I don't know what to say anymore. That's
was
it. That's
That
it.
was a wild game. Oh my gosh,
It was a wild game, yeah.
I'm very surprised to see such little offense be able to win that, because this format is with Dynamax is just a very sort of oppressive, offensive, like get your boost up and just do damage, get a couple KOs and you just win kind of metagame. I'm very surprised to see that work out. We are going to get right into game 3 though, and we're going to see the exact same lead come out from Linie again. The Kangaskhan Metagross. I think I respect that. It's been working out pretty well. I think last game was just a bit of a blunder in terms of targeting and maybe even cycling a little bit too much and not targeting down the Celesteela early on with the Incineroar. But we are going to see Lapras and Dusclops come out. So a little bit more offense this time around coming out from Small side of the field. But Small's team is very, very set up around getting that Trick Room up. And something that Lapras is known for is going into that Gigantamax form, setting up that max resonance, and then setting up Aurora Veil for either 5 or 8 turns, depending on if it's holding the Light Kite item. And on a team like this, where you have so many bulky Pokemon, except for maybe Pincurchin, that's going to be really difficult for even something like a boosted Metagross to kind of break through.
Oh man, I'm just stoked up for this, game number 3. But now that we are on game number 3, let us have that champion time. The first switch in is now out for the side of Small, but the very first attack is going to be the Dynamax from the side of Linie. And of course, it's still going to be that Dynamax square shiny Metagross that I really, really like. And I think, again, I have to agree with you that I actually respect this lead as well, because it has been working out pretty well for him. And just one mistake, just one mistake. Here's the thing, right? You mentioned on the previous match that too much offense and having like 1 or 2, mistakes could definitely bring your game to a downfall. But for the side of Small, he is now too defensive. And the same cost, the same thing that would cause his downfall would be the same thing that would cause a very offensive team its downfall. And that is what's happening. Look at this. Fake out into the Celesteela, going for the max heal spike just to raise up its defense. +1 into the attack. +1 into the defense of both of these Pokemon. G-Max Resonance is now going to be down for the side of Small, even if he gets in, the reflect and light screen essentially, of course.
Whoa.
Um, he could only do much. He could only stall for time, if he would be able to like stall this. And I don't think that putting Celesteela as a lead is quite a good move for him. Just because of the fact that his set isn't as the other players' set, which is really offensive. His Celesteela right here is a setter and a very defensive one at that as well. Like it's not gonna do a lot, especially with four more Pokemon into the side of Linie here.
Celesteela, I think, is going to probably decide if Small wins this game or not. And I mean, if you're Linie, you got to be feeling pretty frustrated right now because you're facing down a leftovers Leech Seed Celesteela that now has screens up. And I mean, it's just going to be so difficult to break through that.
Right, and let us see though. Max Quake going down.
Spinefoost is nice. That is going to be very, very crucial. Leech Seed is also going to be very crucial, though. Celesteela is going to have a lot of recovery with these screens up. And we are going to see the rain get set up as well. So Lapras is honestly poised to do a lot of damage this next turn. And as Kangaskhan goes down, that's a big deal. You do not want to lose your Kangaskhan this early. You need that extra damage.
Now, this is what I'm looking for the last match, for the last game. I have been wondering what Lapras is doing, where Lapras is, like I was thinking that instead of, especially in game number 1, right, he immediately went for the Dynamax Incineroar, right? I was thinking, and he has a Lapras at the back. I was thinking, like, what if he actually used the Dynamax, or I guess the Gigantamax, into this Lapras on game number 1? Then I think he would have won that, especially with the G-Max Resonance. But unfortunately, that wasn't what happened. But right now, it is what it is. It is what's happening right now. He has G-Max Resonance up on his side. But then again, there's only like 4 more turns left. Or rather, no, 3 more turns left. And he has to make the most out of it.
One thing that could actually work against him is setting up the rain now. Tapu Fini's Scalds are going to be doing a lot more. And if they get a burn off, maybe double target this Celesteela, that's a pretty big deal. Lapras does have access to Max Lightning, though, which Fini won't appreciate. But it looks like we might see it target the Metagross, trying to get some damage on that, which I think I like. If you can knock out this Metagross this turn, like next turn, it shouldn't go down this turn with a special defense boost, unless you get a crit, and even then. But if Metagross can go down this next turn, I mean, I think Linie might be done for. I don't know how you break through a Celesteela with Leech Seed leftovers without your main sweeper and +2 Metagross.
Man, no, here's the thing, right? You shouldn't say that, bro. You shouldn't say that because otherwise,
otherwise Metagross will just crit everything.
What's gonna happen again, right? I did mention that I'm not gonna be negative no more with these Pokemon, but I did say as well that Celesteela's not gonna be able to do it, but he did. So I mean, we can't say nothing no more, bro.
You said you couldn't be negative anymore. I never said that. I never committed to this.
That's true. But anyway, going back into the game, we no longer have the Dynamax Metagross, but at the same time, we no longer have the Gigantamax Lapras as well, but we still have the G-Max Resonance up onto the side of Small here, and he has an advantage as well. Lapras, although, still has only 10 HP left. I wonder what this Pokemon is going to be able to do, but that is going to be a switch into that of the Dusclops.
I think Dusclops going in here makes a lot of sense. You don't want Lapras to go down yet. You know it's slower, or presumably it's slower since it's on a Trick Room team than both of these Pokemon. Dusclops isn't really threatened with screens up. I mean, it's hard to KO normally, and with screens up, it's just like honestly almost impossible to kill with that Eviolite. So you try and get a Leech Seed down to this onto this Tapu Fini, but Tapu Fini's honestly coming out to play right now. It's burning the Celesteela every game, which last game it didn't make much of a difference, but this game with a little bit more offense, if you double the Celesteela this next turn, or even a Rain boosted Skull onto this Dusclops with a +2 Metagross, it's
Hmm.
actually looking like it could be a lot more difficult for Small this time around. I mean, Dusclops is honestly at a decent amount of pressure right now.
Right. Hmm. Let's see though. Celesteela, although burned, the burn doesn't really do much against Celesteela, especially that it is Leech Seed. Now here's the thing, right? A very huge a very huge win advantage for Small here is that if he would be able to like
Oh,
take down this, oh, he went in for the switch, but like, if he's gonna be able to take down this Metagross or at least anyone here, right? Really, anyone here into the side of Linie, he could just guarantee do the the usual Leech Seed, Protect, Heavy Slam, whatever, and get the win. You know, but if he's not going to be able to do that, then he's going to be having a hard time. But that switch in is very good. That he is making sure that Lapras essentially gets its own leftovers.
yeah, Lapras will be able to recover with that Leech Seed coming out from the Celesteela. Going to heal it back up a decent amount. Might not be enough, depending on what's in the back here. But the big thing is that your +2 Metagross just fainted. And at this point, an Incineroar in rain is not a happy Incineroar. It's looking pretty dire for Linie at this point.
I mean, even if Flare Blitz, I'm pretty sure Flare Blitz would be able to like one hit KO this Lapras,
From this range,
and
absolutely,
or
yeah.
the Dust Clubs as well. Even the Dust Clubs, and even if Finny would be able to, even if Incineroar would be able to like take down one, right? Gonna be able to take down one. Finny would definitely be able to take down both of these Pokemon, regardless of whichever move it is. If it has Muddy Water, that is, it would be able to take it down. He still has a Celesteela and one more Pokemon at the back. Pincurkin at the back as well. So that would essentially just guarantee his win. He could just go in for the Leech Seed once again. Leech Seed once again, into Protect, and he still has the Pincurkin on
Mhm.
the rain, and he's gonna have the Electric Surge as well, giving him a lot of damage pressure into Linie.
There certainly is going to be a lot of damage coming out from this Pincurchin. Rain is now subsided. It will not be able to come back up. And I believe I said Trick Room was up in that last turn. It was not actually up since Tapu Fini moved before the Dusclops there. Unless I'm getting my Trick Room confused. He may have gone for Trick Room again, which has negative priority. But regardless, Pincurchin is out on the field again. Tapu Fini's not feeling great about that. Incineroar maybe feeling a little bit better than Tapu Fini, but I don't know if you have the damage to KO this Pincurchin before it's going to be able to get something like a Rising Voltage off.
Right. And at this point on, at this point, Pincurkin could just one hit KO both of these Pokemon. And even if you are gonna be able to like take out the Lapras again, the Celesteela at the back, Leech Seed, Protect, and let the Pincurkin just, you know, go on wild.
Yeah, I mean, if you can, I like this targeting from Small. If you can get rid of this Incineroar, the game is pretty much over. Tapu Fini is not a threat to Celesteela. Water isn't going to do a ton to it, and Fairy, excuse me, is going to be doing basically 0 damage to that Steel type Celesteela. So the only thing that can really turn this around is going to be that Incineroar. But Lapras does move first. It does connect with the Hydro Pump. How much is it going to do?
Quite a lot.
Ooh, quite a lot, but
Quite a lot.
not quite enough.
It wasn't enough though.
I do believe Pincurchin double targeted that slot, though. So unless Incineroar can KO the Pincurchin with a Flare Blitz crit. Oh, actually doesn't even need the crit. I forgot Tapu Fini Moonblasted it. Yeah. That's a pretty big deal. The problem is that Lapras can protect and get some more HP up. Incineroar can't really do anything to defend itself right now. Fake Out is not an option because it's been out in the field for too long. But this is honestly a really awkward spot. I mean, do you Flare Blitz the Lapras because you will KO it, but
I mean, if he was able to like take out this Incineroar earlier on, then he's gonna be in a good spot. But at this point, it's still kind of 50-50. Of course, we have a no buff Celesteela. Flare Blitz could essentially, well, it's not gonna be able to knock out this Celesteela, but it's gonna deal a lot of damage. With the help of the Feeny as well, it could potentially just take it out, and then there's also the burn status. So this is gonna be a hard position to be in if you're small. When like the goal is already at the grasp of your hand, and then
Mhm.
just like that, you lost it.
Yeah, not getting Trick Room up was a really big deal, and we do see the Lapras go down to a Moonblast there. I don't think that crit mattered. I think Lapras is going to go down there. It looks like it's a much more offensively trained Lapras. And I don't think Flash Cannon, yeah, it's not going to do enough.
Ooh.
Incineroar could die from Flare Blitz Recoil, though, depending on how much damage this does. And Celesteela does manage to survive, and Incineroar does KO itself. The problem is, it doesn't have Leech Seed up right now, and Leftover's recovery is going to be severely halted by that burn. That burn coming in very, very big.
Oh, no, doesn't it have like leash sheet onto the Finny? Oh
It was in the other
no.
slot, so it's not
Oh yeah,
anymore.
it was in the other slot,
Yeah.
right? That is, oh man, this is a really hard spot, especially that Finny is the faster Pokemon. Now it
Hmm.
all depends whether he's gonna be able to survive this. He's
He's not.
not,
Yeah, the Skull was too
and that
much.
is it.
Wow,
Man, that,
that
that's
was...
gonna be really so frustrating, man. That's really frustrating when, as I mentioned, victory's already at the grasp of your hand, but just like that, losing the Pincurkin lost all of your advantage. Just like that. Like with a snap of a finger, boom.
Yeah, I think another big problem there was not getting that Trick Room up. I mean, Lapras was moving before the Incineroar, but we saw the Hydro Pump wasn't, surprisingly, wasn't enough to KO. And I wonder if maybe switching out the Celesteela wasn't the best idea because you did reset your lead seed onto that slot. It was really just a matter of that turn where Linie double targeted that Pincurchin. Being able to KO Pincurchin before it was able to move and do an attack was a big, big deal because not having that Incineroar off the field basically made it almost impossible for Celesteela to be able to win that match, which I think was the game plan that excuse me, Samuel was going for in the end game. So definitely unfortunate targeting there, but really, really well played overall. I mean, Pincurchin is not a Pokemon we see very often, so it was very cool to see it Dynamax, and I think it like there was some chip on some of those things, but I think most of the Pokemon it just
Hmm.
like O-code throughout all the games. I mean, it honestly did a ton of damage.
Right. And I don't know, man. Like it was looking so good for him, and this, I've played Pokemon as well. I've been a player as well, and I know how hard that loss is. Like you can't describe it in words. How
Yeah, you
frustrating
can't.
that loss is. Like it's really hard. It's really hard when you know yourself. You're already winning, and just like that, boom, everything everything was lost.
It's definitely a heartbreaking loss, especially in round 5. So that's tough. It's really really tough. But I think he did play very
Right?
well. I do like. I wish
Mhm.
the weakness policy in Incineroar could have come out a little bit stronger. But I do think that it was wise to maybe not bring it in that situation. Metagross was just too much for it. I mean, we saw a +2 Max Quake just bopped that Incineroar. I mean, it got one move off and then it just wasn't able to do anything.
Right. Then again, it is what it is, and we can't linger on it anymore as we still have a lot of games ahead of us. When we come back again, we having your casters for Feeper's Electric Tower. I'm JJ, and with me is the one and only, the host of them all, Feeper. We'll be right back.